Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. Today, we have a Shark Tank winner from Clifton that made an innovative tool you will want for your summer barbecues. We also have the owner of Beyond the Pampas, an incredible family resource. But first, Stephen Fulop, the mayor of Jersey City, will tell us all about the CJC statewide marketing campaign. He joins us now. Mayor Fulop, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, you are heading up my beloved Jersey City. I was telling you off camera, I love and miss it so much. It was the best 3.5 years of my life at Port Liberté, and Jersey City just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it?
Well, look, I think we've had a renaissance like few cities across the country, and we're still in the early phases of that. So there's a lot to tell, and we just want to make sure that we keep the city growing. And part of that is a marketing narrative to the rest of New Jersey.
So tell us all about the CNJ campaign.
The hope is that you continue the momentum, you attract new economic development by people understanding that what's already happening here.
What are some of the new things that the city is implementing?
We've created a culture around restaurants, culture, and arts in particular, and that's really driven a lot of the real estate development and the growth that we've seen on that front, because it's become a more desirable place to live, not just a bedroom community like it was perceived 15 years ago with lots of new residential development, but really just working across the river in New York. So there's a lot to be proud of, and there's a lot to tell.
There definitely is. How can the entire state get involved, not just residents of the city?
You come visit and then it kind of speaks for itself. But the key is that people need to come and visit. So, we saw this opportunity post-COVID to really highlight a lot of the successes that we've had over the last 10 years with the hope that we can continue the momentum. I mean, it's not lost on us that the last year has been challenging broadly economically across the country. You've seen a slowdown on a lot of different fronts from the macro standpoint. We want to make sure that when you talk about microeconomics and your local government and your local economy, that people understand that Jersey City has a lot to be proud of and is growing at a significant rate still.
Around Liberty State Park, there's a ton that's going to be happening.
And the goal is to really use some of the property that today isn't used around Liberty State Park to make more active recreation spaces. So you have maybe the best park in New Jersey with views of the Statue of Liberty and proximity to New York and downtown Jersey City, and it's huge in size. But to add an active recreation component so you can really highlight for the rest of the youth development components that we work on here, all the great things happening.
And it's such a safe city, I feel, as well. I think you do an excellent job with public safety.
Relative to any urban area across the country, I'd put us up there with regards to safety, especially anyone as densely populated as us. Not to say we're perfect and we don't have challenges, which we certainly do, as every city does, but you've seen a steady decline in crime. The police department has done a terrific job in partnerships with active community groups.
What are some of the events and initiatives that Jersey City will be implementing summer, fall 2023?
I mean, we have a really robust cultural arts program. I mean, it's recognized as the single most diverse city in the entire country. A lot of people don't realize that, but Jersey City, year in and year out, does receive that accolade. And it's largely because we're still a community of immigrants. Historically, we were the home of Ellis Island, and, we're no longer seeing the immigrants at large scales that might be Irish or Polish or Italian. You're seeing them more from Southeast Asia or South America, but it still is very much at our core a city of immigrants. And that brings a lot of culture and arts and festivals, and it is a jam-packed spring and summer calendar. So we're very, very proud of that. And there's an opportunity to welcome people here to experience all of that in addition to the culinary aspects.
You mentioned the arts, and I feel like New Jersey right now is such a hotbed of Hollywood activity. There's numerous movies being filmed in Jersey City.
Yeah.
So what does that do to the economic climate of the city?
Yeah, I mean, we have a huge movie studio here, probably the largest active movie studio that we built, opened a couple of years ago, and it's located here in Jersey City, and it's booked solid, and it's looking to expand, which is a great thing. Beyond that, we've really embraced the film industry, and we will continue to do that. We've streamlined the process for approvals. We have a professional team that deals with the production companies, and as a result of that, you've seen a bunch of major motion pictures film here. It seems like it's like a regular occurrence that people are selecting Jersey City. I mean, we have a lot to offer on that front. So that leads to economic activity because a lot of the crews that work on these films live in New Jersey, or specifically Jersey City. It creates economic activity. And, we think that that is a clear path forward from an economic development standpoint.
Hey, and you have the best views, right, of Manhattan. If you need that iconic shot of Manhattan, you have it all,
I mean,
for
look,
sure.
it's better to be on our side of the river looking at that from a view standpoint. I mean, so yes, I think we have the best views anywhere in the world.
So if you tried to convince someone to move to Jersey City in like 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say?
Unbelievable culture, arts, great housing stock, growing city, a great community that's engaged in civic life, and a place that you could stay long term.
And finally, with the CJC campaign, what can people in the Garden State expect to look out for?
The goal is to really highlight the successes of Jersey City over the last couple of years, and that's what we want to do is CJC. We want to invite people to come and see firsthand what's happened here. And we know once they see it, they'll continue to come back and invest money here and spend money here, which benefits everybody who lives here. So I think you could see the CJC campaign on a bunch of different fronts, and it'll be prevalent throughout the state.
Well, I'm so looking forward to the rollout. If you ever need an ambassador, let me know.
I will.
Very pro Jersey City. It really
you.
is a magical place. There's no other, I mean, along that Gold Coast, there's so many great towns, obviously. Hoboken comes to mind. But there's just such magic about Jersey City, truly.
I hear you. I love it. Yeah, we're going to get you to be an ambassador for us.
Mayor, thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
From Clifton, New Jersey, Togue Samphel appeared on Shark Tank with a new and innovative kitchen tool that turns any utensil into tongs. Joining us now to tell us more about this incredible invention is Togue. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on your Shark Tank win. Before we get into all of that and the excitement that it's brought, tell us all about your product.
So this is it's a pretty simple tool, a tool that I figured that I always needed. I mean, I really enjoy cooking, and whenever I'm cooking, I'm making multiple dishes, and tongs are something that it's arguably one of the most important kitchen tools in the kitchen, more than a chef's knife, some would argue. And I never seemed to have enough. So I came up with this tool by remembering what my mother used to do back when we were growing up in a Tibetan household. She would have parties, and she always needed tongs for all the different foods that were laid out. And she taped plastic utensils to clothesline pins. So I said, hey, you know what? Let me see if I can make this into a product. And what this tool does is you can convert forks or spoons, sometimes larger serving utensils, and you can convert them into tongs instantly. And they're easy to swap out. Whenever you need a fresh pair of tongs, you just swap out your utensils with some fresh, clean ones, and you're good to go.
It's one thing to think of a genius idea like that, but it's another to actually put it into action. How did you do that?
My background is in design. I've always had this approach of failing fast and failing cheap. And, what I had to do first was just see if there was a market fit. And one of the best ways to do that is to run a Kickstarter. So, coming up with an idea, putting it on Kickstarter, we had a really, really, really good campaign. The signals were positive, and that kind of gave me that confidence to actually, invest more into this, invest more time, a little bit more money to really expand on it and not go all in first shot.
What inspired you to sign up for Shark Tank?
They actually reached out to me, and they found my project on Kickstarter, and they thought it was a really interesting idea, interesting brand. They reached out, and when I first saw the email, I thought it was some kind of like spam or something. It was like, there's no way Shark Tank is reaching out, but it was legit. And that kicked off a long process of auditioning remotely, and I just kept advancing, and it was an incredible experience.
I've never heard of that before. So kudos to you, because I've talked to other Shark Tank winners in the state, And there's always the long application process. I've never heard of Shark Tank actually reaching out to somebody. So, I mean, you probably had a good feeling about your chances just based on that alone.
Funny enough, it really didn't matter. The chances of you advancing, it made no difference whether you applied or you were reached out to. They were pretty they mentioned that quite a bit. So they just wanted to set expectations, and again, there's no doubt I was definitely flattered by them reaching out. So, but it was great to see that email.
Well, tell us about your experience in the tank in front of all of these amazing mega entrepreneurs.
Yeah, definitely. It was something that I've never come close to doing anything like this in my life. It was a little nerve-wracking. I was quite nervous, to be honest. But it was very surreal. Being in that tank, you're seeing all these faces that you always see on TV, and then you're finally seeing them, right in front of you. It was. There was a lot going on, and the only explanation, the only way to explain it is really it just felt very surreal.
So tell us who invested.
Daymond John, someone that I'm really excited to have to be partnering with, because Daymond John, he's known as the People Shark, and he takes chances on the little guys. I mean, that's what he's known for. He's done bigger deals before, but he's also taken deals on really small startups, because he knows the grind. He knows people who are starting up. I mean, he started out in a garage, he built it up. I think he he understands, and he wants to help people like me out. So I'm super excited.
Well, we are about to embark on barbecue season. So how has Shark Tank and everything that you've done marketing wise propelled your business?
It's been really crazy. Ever since we aired, the amount of people who are visiting the websites, the amount of sales just skyrocketed. It's been really tough to manage. The logistics were pretty challenging. There were some delays because the demand was so high. But we got it done. Everyone got their orders. It was, and there was a lot of folks were very understanding. As I was being very communicative with everyone, and they understood, and they were excited for me. They're excited for the company, and it's just been great, and it opened up a lot of doors. So there's a lot of different talks with different partners and new opportunities. I just can't wait for the rest of the year and years after.
Where can we purchase Any Tongs and learn more about your story?
You can purchase it on anytongs.com. We are going to be restocking on Amazon. We have been completely sold out on Amazon, so we got to get that restocked. It'll be back up, in the coming weeks. And we're going to be looking to do some partnerships with distributors and hopefully some retail stores.
Well, don't forget about us in New Jersey when you become as big as Daymond and all those people that were on that panel.
I'll never forget you guys. I mean, New Jersey is my home, born and raised, and I'm excited, and I'll never forget. I'll be hooking up everybody with some Any Tongs for sure. Studio.
Tog, this was so much fun. Congratulations again, and all the success in the world.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Tiffany Shevchik of Montville created a foundation after discovering a gap in services for youth and families when it came to coping with the loss of a family member. Tiffany from Beyond the Pampas joins us now. Welcome, Tiffany.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. What you're doing is so worthwhile. Tell us all about your foundation.
So the mission of our foundation is to help youth ages 3 to 18 cope with the loss of an immediate family member, and that would include mother, father, guardian, sister, or brother. And we would like to help them cope socially, emotionally, physically, and or spiritually.
Tell us more what inspired you to create this foundation.
The inspiration to create this foundation came from my work working as a child life specialist and supervisor in an inner city hospital for 22 years. The initial patient that inspired me to do this was a young boy of age 11 who experienced the loss of his brother it was a sudden loss that was not expected. This particular youth did not have an opportunity to fully say goodbye to his brother. And I was able to continue working with him due to his own illness. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a connection with him. The connection that we had led to me finding out that he needed some type of coping mechanism to help him with this. And that was something that I helped him with along his journey.
How did you help him?
I'm going back to the early 1990s, and during that time, we were able to do things that wouldn't have been able to be done today. With the help of his physician at the time, his physician and I were able to take him to a park setting, and we were able to help him go fishing, which is something that he wanted to really do. We didn't have the fishing equipment, but we were able to have him teach us how to create a fishing rod out of a stick and some line. That is something that his grandfather did for him. And this was something that he wanted to do to help him cope with the process of the loss of his brother.
You were definitely ahead of the times. Talk about what you're doing today to help little boys like him.
So today what we're doing is we're offering youth in this type of unfortunate situation the opportunity to be recommended to us by their family or another loved one or friend. And we're offering them an opportunity to work with us and give us an idea of what would help them cope with their journey of being a bereaved child and living life to their fullest without their loved one by their side. These things can include different types of activities or different types of services that they feel would help them along the way. It could be something that they could do that would honor their family member or remember their family member. It could be something that they were not able to do for their loved one in regards to financial reasons that they still need closure for, and we would help them with that. Our first wish that we did was for a boy that unfortunately experienced the sudden loss of his mom, who was his only caretaker at the time. He was 14 years old, and what we did for him was we did a ski wish. He felt that learning how to ski would help him be able to cope along his process and his journey. We sent him skiing to Shawnee Mountain, and we were lucky enough to have Shawnee Mountain and the Shawnee Mountain Inn work with us in regards to donating training for his ski lessons. And the Shawnee Inn also was fortunate enough to be able to work with us. We were fortunate enough to have them help us with discounting the rate for their stay for that weekend. So not only did we provide ski lessons, we provided a weekend with his family and friends, since he was an only child at the time who was now being raised by his grandparents.
Tiffany, that is so wonderful. And the fact that Shawnee Mountain was even willing to help you in your mission makes the story even better. How do you raise funds and awareness for all of your wishes?
So we're a new organization. We were established in April of 2021. We have myself and 4 other board members that are working closely together to get this off the ground and running. We have our own fundraisers along the way. We've had 2 game nights, and then we had one most recent fundraiser at the North Jersey Country Club with Laura Safaldi, who donated her time. It's hard right now to be a young organization and raise funds, because the amount of children and youth that need this help is overwhelming, unfortunately. We have many people that want our help, and we need help with funding different events so that we can help more youth and families.
And I think it's special that you're doing this foundation with a small board, and also your husband, Peter.
Yes, my husband is definitely a large part of doing the fundraising. As a certified child life specialist, it's myself and two other board members that are certified child life specialists to work with these children or youth and families. And then my husband and another board member try to concentrate more on the fundraising aspect and the events, because all of us work full time. This is a passion of ours. It's something that we really want to do to help the community. And we have to delegate the different responsibilities, because I'm sure, as you know, from working with other nonprofits, the fundraising aspect of this can be very time consuming and difficult. So my husband tries to focus on that while I try to focus on helping the actual youth that need the coping support.
You sound like a great team, and you need that in embarking on something like this. Talk to us about how you're raising funds and what events you have throughout the year.
Yes, so we have an annual game night. The game night was the first fundraiser that my husband and the other board member put together. We invited friends and family to come out and support us to initially launch us off the ground. But I do have to let you know, Lisa, that it was thanks to a donor, a husband and wife that were kind enough and believed in us and had faith in our mission and what we do, that wish to remain anonymous. But I would like to acknowledge them, because without their financial support and the initial fundraiser, we never would have been able to get off the ground and started. That donor remains with us, and we keep in close contact, and they're very happy that you've invited us on the show. But we do need other support financially. So we continue our annual game night each fall, and then we try to find people that are willing to help us with different events. For example, Laura Cifaldi, the New Jersey medium, she just did an event for us at the North Jersey Country Club. And that was definitely a success. People really were moved and touched by that event and learning more about our mission. And we're hopeful to have that again, as she kindly volunteered to offer help again.
You have a very interesting name. Tell us the backstory of it.
So the inspiration came because I did not want this to be named with the word wish in it. I feel that there's so much more to it, and wish didn't really resonate well with me when dealing with what we're dealing with in regards to such a fragile population. So I thought long and hard about what would make sense. Most people don't know what a POPIS is. I'm not sure if the audience would know or not, but this wonderful little POPIS behind me is a fake POPIS, but the POPIS is part of the dandelion's life cycle. It's actually the last part of the life cycle, and it is what children often wish upon. They pick out of the grass. They look at the little feathery pieces of the yellow dandelion that has turned into the gray feathery like round POPIS pieces, and they blow on that to make a wish. That was something that I remember doing as a child, and I know when I bring this up at events, other people remember doing. So we decided that the POPIS was the right way to go. The reason for Beyond the POPIS is because we want to go beyond what that wish is. As I mentioned, we want to remain as a support for these children. We're hoping that in the future, with the help of others, and the help of others believing in our mission, just like that first husband and wife did, and our family and friends, that we'll be able to not be working out of my house anymore. That we'll be able to hopefully have an actual, office building or house that we can bring these children and families to. We're hoping that we can have support groups and different events throughout the year, especially around the holidays, because that's a really hard time. Another piece of this that is close to our hearts is that my husband and I, along with my work at the hospital and realizing what was needed for these children after the loss of a loved one, is that we as adults experience our own losses in our life. when it was back in 2011, my husband's father died after a long illness. So we experienced the loss of him through a long illness. And then 1 month later, my father passed away suddenly. So we experienced both aspects of loss. And at that time, I really couldn't fully understand how a child could cope with this. And that was when I knew that I really wanted to help these youth and create this foundation.
I love when businesses and foundations have such meaningful monikers. So thank you for coming on here. Where can people find out more about you and to support this beautiful mission?
www.beyondthepappas.org. We're also on Facebook. You can search Beyond the Pappas. We're on Instagram as well. And if anyone is interested in making a donation, they can do that right through our website.
Well, thank you, Tiffany, for coming on. We have to shout out your Aunt Angela, a devout viewer of the program that wrote to me and said, I want you to have my niece-in-law on the show to talk about this, and I'm so happy she did. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.